Silver and gold continue to make gains as the US dollar weakens. Hey, I'm the Stacking Stormtrooper. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy in a bucket talking about precious metals. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, get the bell notification clicked, and that way you get updated with any new content. There's a lot of people in the community that they just really believe that the dollar is going to be a goner and that silver and gold is the way of the future. That or either Bitcoin. I'm not one of those people. I still think that the US dollar is going to be our currency for a long time. I mainly am buying silver and gold just as the hedge against inflation that everybody was always talking about, right? As the United States dollar weakens, the value of our wealth gets stored in the silver and gold and basically maintains its value, its buying power. So a couple things to kind of just point out to you guys. Right now, August 25th, we see gold sitting at $1,929, silver sitting at $26.51. 5-year historical prices of silver, we saw that it basically just hovered around in the mid-teens, and then right around pandemic time, it started to kind of just take a run right here, and here we see it at $26.61 just the other day. And then here gold prices relatively flat over the last 5 years, and then right around 2019 we started to see a steady increase in the price of gold. Now it's kind of doing a pullback. People are saying that this is a healthy correction, that it's going to probably hover around the 1930, 1950 range for the next couple of months. Looking at the US debt clock, we are seeing the debt at $26.6 trillion. That is just astronomically high. There really is no end in sight. In fact, if you do the debt clock looking at 2024, it's doing its projections here at $45.9 trillion. Absolutely insane. But having said that, right, we know that there's the pandemic right now that's causing the fluctuation in the precious metals pricing. We are seeing that the election coming up in November is going to cause a spike in precious metals. But right here, this article, which was printed or published, I should say, on Sunday, August 23rd on CNBC, it says the dollar may slide further, but analysts say its demise is greatly exaggerated. Going to my point, talking about how a lot of people in the stacking community say that the United States dollar is worthless, that it is going to one day be really, really worthless. Like we would have trillions of dollars that you would go buy a sack of potatoes with, kind of like you see in some of these other impoverished nations that have completely collapsed. I'm not one of those individuals. I do not see the United States dollar being worthless. Again, you have to think about how interconnected we are with the rest of the world and the other countries that have been propping us up, like China, who basically holds the majority of our debt. If we collapse, then the whole world goes with us. So this isn't going to really happen, in my opinion. So taking a look at this article, saying that the weakening U.S. dollar is set to slide even further, but its importance as the world's reserve currency is unlikely to be diminished, according to analysts. The greenback had benefited as investors flew to safety amid the pandemic, which drove it to a 3.5-year high in March. But now strategists say that the country's economic recovery is in question given its weakness with the coronavirus response. Guys, we've seen just staggering numbers here in the United States when you compare it to the rest of the world. The dollar had also reacted to the country's surging deficit and the prospect of U.S. interest rates remaining lower for longer. The dollar index fell to a 27-month low last week at 92.47, a steep decline from its 102 level in March. Since then, it has been fluctuating, swinging between 92 and 93 levels in the past week. It was last at 93.15 on Monday. U.S. economic outperformance relative to the euro area and Japan no longer seems guaranteed, at least over the next few years, given the faltering virus response. Furthermore, the European Union's new euro 750 billion euro recovery fund is giving investors more confidence in the euro as an alternative. JP Morgan and asset management's Patrick Showitz said in a recent note. The global multi-asset strategist added the shrinking of its interest rate advantage makes the USD less appealing and pushes investors to consider deposits in other currencies. These cyclical factors won't turn around in a hurry, and the US dollar likely has room to fall farther. So, guys, to us who are stackers, we're seeing this as an opportunity for the precious metals to continue its incline, its increase in prices. BlackRock Investment Institute also said that the dollar weakness will persist in the near term as the factors that led to the currency's recent decline will continue to play a part. The prospect of the dollar retaining its perceived safe haven status is another concern. We are weighing these as a contentious U.S. presidential election looms, BlackRock strategists wrote. So, also, as we said before, with this upcoming election, there's a lot of people worried about which way that it is going to fall, whether it's Republican or Democrat. You may have some fallout on either side of the aisle. We do have a very divided nation, and I'm not going to get into my personal politics, but you definitely see it and feel it, that we are a nation that is rather divided, especially when it comes to politics. So here's the key point right here. The dollar's demise greatly exaggerated. Again, I'm one of the individuals that kind of falls into this camp. I do think that the whole hang on to your silver and gold for dear life, pry it out of my cold dead hands. I'm not one of those individuals. Again, you have to remember, we work for dollars. We get paid in dollars. Our entire civilization is revolving around earning and spending dollars. So, silver and gold, while they're good to maintain your wealth, they are a speculative asset, right? They rise and fall. You can make profits from them, depending on when you buy and sell. And I have been doing just that. Analysts argue, however, that the recent fears that the dollar may lose its status as the world's reserve currency are overblown. Research firm Capital Economics senior economist Jonas Gulterman says talk of the dollar's downfall is greatly exaggerated. He said dollar bears have pointed to the greenback's declining share of global foreign exchange reserves over the past few years. According to International Monetary Fund data, the dollar share of total global reserves fell from 64.7% in the first quarter of 2017 to around 62% in the first quarter of 2020. In the last quarter of 2019, it saw a low of 60.9%. Gulterman said, however, the dollar's index decline since March can be attributed to reasons other than the currency's reserve status, including low interest rates and Europe's steps to stimulate the continent's economy. The latter has spurred a remarkable shift toward the euro. Since June, the dollar has lost around 6.6% against the euro. In fact, Gulterman argues that the coronavirus crisis has reinforced the dollar's role as the key global currency. He noted that the greenback surged as safe haven demand jumped in March as the pandemic swelled in the United States, Europe, and elsewhere. Perhaps more importantly, there is no obvious alternative to the dollar, Gulterman added. The next two largest economies, the Eurozone and China, are both smaller than the U.S., and the euro, due to its still fragile political underpinnings, and the what the heck is that word, guys? Renminbi, due to China's capital controls and unique political system, have significant shortcomings as reserve currencies. Never saw that word before. Renminbi. Renminbi. Say that word 5 times fast. Sven Schubert, senior investment strategist at Europe-based Vontobel Asset Management, also pointed to the yuan and the euro as the two most viable alternatives over the coming decades. Guys, decades is the key word. Decades, okay? But neither are yet serious competitors, he said. Schubert added that around 50% of the global trade contracts are still quoted in the U.S. dollar, despite the country accounting for only about 12% of global trade. The depth of the United States financial markets is unrivaled. Central banks still prefer to hold a majority of their U.S. reserves in USD. The key commodities in the world are traded in U.S. dollars, and most global trade contracts are quoted in U.S. dollars and euros, Schubert said. So we are still a massive powerhouse. We are, again, the only other currencies that could possibly take our place, they're saying is going to be decades, if at all, would be the Chinese currency, the yuan, or the Eurozone. So having said that, Again, guys, while the dollar continues to weaken, we will still see an increase in silver and gold pricing. I'm curious as to what you guys think about the US dollar weakening. And because of it, are you still buying silver and gold, or are you letting things kind of just play out? And are you just going to wait and see what happens before you buy any more silver and gold? And I just want to quickly thank these elite channel supporters. And if you haven't become a channel member, please check out the awesome perks and join today. With that, I'm the Stacking Stormtrooper. Check out these videos. Until next time, long live the Empire.